안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Thursday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon-soa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-history, K-travel, K-everything. And before you realize, you'll be booking your flight to Korea. Now today we're joined by our Thursday co-host Bella Kim in the studio. Hello Bella.
Hi Soa, and hello to everyone joining us today on the Culture Wave. I'm Bella, back again to co-host and fill you guys in with the latest in K-entertainment.
Bella, have you noticed how beautiful the weather here in Seoul was today?
I know.
Is still?
I finally put away all my winter coats.
Oh, I think I'm ready to do that now too because we had so many cold spells actually this spring. But really also with the flowers blooming everywhere, I think it's the perfect time to travel around the capital, Seoul. And I think it doesn't have to be extravagant because every neighborhood has its charm.
Right, and speaking of neighborhoods, in Seoul, we're going to have more of that in coming up episode, Hallyu People segment today.
Right, but before that, Bella, it's Bella time.
Bella time!
We're going to start off with K-Enter News. And our first story, it's a very impressive achievement that we have to talk about.
Yes.
And that achievement made by Blackpink's member Rosé.
That is right. Rosé has been named on Time Magazine's list of the 100 most influential people of 2025. On Wednesday, Time Magazine revealed the 2025 Time 100, an annual list of the 100 most influential people in the world. Rosé, whom the magazine classified as a pioneer, was one of the 100 people to make this year's list. Time Magazine's guest contributor, Lily Collins, shared that the reasons behind Rosé's selection, and she said that Rosé's dynamic performer and is a songwriter as well, and is able to captivate arenas full of people, both as a member, as a biggest group, Blackpink, and also as a solo artist. Meanwhile, Rosé's Apathy featuring Bruno Mars continues to maintain its spot in Billboard Hot 100 for the 25th consecutive week.
Wow, really, that's another proof for Korea's K-pop world making it big on the global stage, the big influence. And actually, Bella, did you know in 2019, Blackpink, the group, was actually part of Time 100 Next. So they were part of the 100 Next Rising Stars. And now another milestone, Rosé, with that achievement. So congratulations to Rosé.
Congratulations.
Now, on the other side of K-pop, we have another update regarding the lawsuit between girl group New Jeans and their former agency Adore. What do you have?
Well, on Wednesday, the Seoul Central District Court dismissed objections filed by New Jeans against an earlier ruling that banned the group from independent activities outside of the agency Adore. And immediately after the court's decision, New Jeans appealed, taking legal battle between the two to the appeals court now. The legal representatives of New Jeans said that they will continue to try their best to reveal fact relevance. To give a quick recap now, New Jeans began pursuing independent activities in February after accusing Adore of violating the terms of their exclusive contract. However, Adore claimed that the contract with the group remains valid until July 2029. And earlier in March, the court accepted the injunction sought by Adore to prevent the 5 members from independently signing advertising contracts and also pursuing separate music activities. And in response, New Jeans filed an objection against this injunction, but the court rejected this during this Wednesday's hearing, upholding its previous ruling. Now what's left is the appeals court's decision. Meanwhile, a separate trial is ongoing over Adore's lawsuit regarding the validity of its exclusive contract with New Jeans, and the second hearing for that is set to take place on June 5th.
And I should have not said former agency Adore, but because it's still valid,
it's
but de facto
going.
former because they are not currently that active within that agency. But please keep us updated on the results.
For sure.
Now, Bella, for our last story, we're going to talk about a K-series on Netflix coming up.
That is right. Korean Netflix series are doing amazing these days, not only in Korea, but globally. So it's very exciting to hear that another series is about to be released. This time, it's a mystery romance series Dear Honglang, or in Korean, Tangum. It's a novel of the same title by writer Jang Da-hae, and the story follows a son, Honglang, who returns after a decade-long disappearance with no memory of his childhood, and his half-sister Jae-i, who has been close to him since they were child, seeks the truth behind his sudden disappearance. The new series stars Lee Jae-uk, Jo Bo-ah, Jung Ga-ram, and Ji-won, and this Dear Honglang will set to premiere on Netflix on May 16th.
We'll add that to my list of what to watch on Netflix.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Bella, for those updates, and stick around.
Will do.
And now time to go over to our AI anchor, Ari, for other culture-related news. Ari?
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. Korea's oldest art market event, the Galleries Art Fair, has officially kicked off at COEX in Seoul, now in its 43rd edition. This year's fair brings together a record 168 galleries, the largest in the event's history. First launched in 1979 as the Korea Galleries Association exhibition, the fair has grown into a flagship event of Korea's spring art season and is widely regarded as a barometer that shows the current trends of the country's art market. Running through Sunday, the fair showcases a diverse array of works, including pieces by acclaimed artists from home and abroad, as well as bold, original creations by emerging talents. An exhibition exploring surrealism in Korea's modern art opened today at the Doksugung branch of the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art. While surrealism has often been overlooked in Korean art history, this exhibition sheds light on 6 artists who resolutely pursue their own surrealist visions, unaffected by contemporary trends. Featured artists include Kim Jong-nam, who lived in Japan under the name Hideo Manabe, and Kim Wook-gyu, originally from the north, who fled to the south, leaving his family behind. The exhibition offers a rare glimpse into the inner worlds of artists profoundly shaped by Korea's colonial history, war, and division. Their works will be on display until July 6. Korea's web novel market saw a roughly 30% increase in size in just 2 years. According to a recent report from the Culture Ministry, the market was valued at 1.35 trillion won, or around $950 million last year, up over 310 billion won, or roughly $220 million. From 2022, web novels accounted for more than 45% of the total annual revenue from web fiction content, including webtoons. Regarding royalties, around 30% of web novel creators earn between 1 million and 3 million won per episode, while only 1% make over 100 million won. That's all from me. Keep it tuned to the Culture Wave.
Leading Korean art auction house Seoul Auction is attracting attention for its spring auction featuring works of independence activists from the Japanese colonial era. There is greater meaning as this year marks the 80th anniversary of Korea's independence. Lee Eun-jin tells us more.
Revered Korean independence activist of the Japanese colonial era, An Jung-gun. As a part of his previously unreleased collection of calligraphic work left behind in the final days leading up to his execution, this piece, titled Nokjuk, or Green Bamboo, is presumed to have been created in February of 1910. This piece is different from his usual vertical writing, while his signature handprint is also imprinted horizontally. Han Yong-un was a Buddhist reformer, poet, and independence activist, also known by his pen name Manhae. This folding screen contains poetry of his that compares the path of Buddhist practice to the journey of a young monk to find his lost cow. It is a rare 10-panel masterpiece showcasing Manhae's unique round handwriting.
Manhae believed in the people continuing towards the independence of our country during the Japanese occupation. And through this poem, he wanted to remind us that it is a destination that should not be forgotten.
Seoul Auction's spring session will have a large number of such relics containing traces from the independence movement. In addition to the works of An Jung-gun and Han Yong-un, there will be the first edition of Yoon Dong-ju's book of poems titled Sky, Wind, Star, and Poem, showing the passage of time in its worn-out cover page, as well as documents like records of the International Military Tribunal for the Far East. These items can range in value from tens to hundreds of thousands of US dollars. Garnering great interest due to this year marking the 80th anniversary of Korean independence, the relics will be shown in a free exhibition until April 21st, a day before the auction on the 22nd. 이은진, 아리랑 뉴스.
Seoul is the capital of South Korea, a city with a long history and rich culture. Seoul is divided into 25 districts known as 구 and 467 neighborhoods known as dong, such as Myeongdong, Insadong, and Cheongsu-dong. Today, we will meet a Dutch YouTuber who has been exploring and documenting the unique sights and stories found in these Seoul neighborhoods from top to bottom. It's Bart van Genoegten who's running the channel I Go Bart. Welcome, Bart.
Hello,
Bart.
it's so nice being here.
Thanks for being on the program. So why don't we start with a brief introduction of yourself?
Okay, my name is Bart. I've been in South Korea for over 7 years. And I'm a travel YouTuber full-time.
Wow. Okay, so because you are a travel YouTuber, why don't you tell us a little bit about your most recent trips?
Okay, well, I travel mostly inside South Korea, mostly inside Seoul. But recently I've been to the China-North Korea border. And I started in Dandong, which is a Chinese border city. And from there all the way to back to San. They call it Changbaisan in China. And that was fascinating.
Wow.
You know, we have that image of the border here, the DMZ, heavily militarized, a buffer zone, impossible to cross. And then you go to China and it's just a small river dividing two countries. You can almost touch the other side.
Interesting.
Wow,
Yeah.
very interesting. And so you've been traveling around the world and you settled in a place that you liked, which is here, South Korea. What would you say was a deciding factor for you to live here and settle here?
Ooh, my first time in South Korea was in 2014. And it was just something about the energy. I could feel that this country soon will become well known around the world. I could feel it. I could hear the young Koreans talking about how much they want to introduce their culture to the other countries. And back then, 2014, the people in the Netherlands, they still asked me, "Oh, Bart, did you go to North Korea?" I said, "No, I was in South Korea. What are you talking about?" They just didn't know much about South Korea. And of course, the soju, the makgeolli, nightlife culture, convenience stores at every corner of the street, safety, all those things contributed to me wanting to stay here in South Korea.
Wow, so you had that feel about Korea, you know, being more aware, that people around the world would be more aware of Korea in years to come. So I guess that happened in the past decade or so. And Bart, on your YouTube channel, I Go Bart, you have a series called Welcome to My Dong, which is also a part, my favorite series of your channel.
Really?
Yes, it is. So please tell us about it, and also how many dongs have you visited already, and introduce us to that specific series.
Okay, so the series is called Welcome to My Dong, and Dong in Korea means neighborhood, not the slang that they use in other countries. So Seoul has 467 neighborhoods, and I have explored 110. It goes really slowly. There's so many of them. And my goal is to explore all of them in depth. I just want to uncover the hidden history, the hidden stories, the people, the food, a lot of things that people don't really know much about it, and try to identify what the neighborhoods are about. So if people watch my videos, instead of going to all the famous landmarks, maybe they change their mind and add some other neighborhoods to their itinerary. That's my goal.
Wow. I mean, 110 out of 467. That brings me to my next question. Why did you choose Dong, not the Gus, for instance? You would have 25 districts.
I know, it would have been a shorter series. But the Dong, imagine a gu. A gu has so many dongs. So if I want to make one video about one gu, it will take me weeks to make one video because of all the dongs. Because one dong sometimes takes me 1-2 days to film, and then 1 week to research, then 1 week to edit. So it's a lot of work. And I think if you focus on a gu, you zoom out too much. You automatically focus on the major landmarks, because if you go too deep, then you need to make a 10-hour-long video.
So you want to get more in depth, right?
Yes, definitely.
So definitely Dong and many dongs.
Yeah, because every dong has its own name. For example, Hapcheong-dong, Songsu-dong, and those names already tell a story. There's a reason why that particular neighborhood has that name.
Exactly. And which neighborhoods have you lived already in Seoul, and how would you describe your own neighborhood?
It's very hard to describe my own neighborhood. My first neighborhood was Hapcheong-dong, and then I moved to Dangin-dong. What's it called? The Octop Bang? A rooftop home.
Yes.
So I started out in a guest house, then a rooftop home. Then I went to the Jia Bang.
Which is underground.
Yes, from the famous movie, right? And then I went to a villa in Songsan-dong. So all the neighborhoods I have lived in were in Mapo-gu, the Mapo district. And that district has a special place in my heart, because I had my first experiences in Korea in those neighborhoods. But here's the thing, you don't really know much about your own neighborhood. I care more about the neighborhoods that are far away from me. And I always had in my mind, okay, the last video of my series will be the neighborhood where I have lived in.
I see.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that part, that you really don't know much about your own neighborhood at times, because we here in Korea, some people don't go to the big landmarks, you know, while tourists, people from abroad, would definitely go to, I don't know, Namsan Tower or the big places, right?
That is definitely true. And I especially learned a lot from your videos on the region on the dong that I live in. So it's definitely gets into the details.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you now, while you were filming this episode, this series, were there any fun or memorable episodes that you want to share with us?
Too many.
Oh, probably.
Too many. But quite recently I went to Shindang-dong. You know, I think.
Tteokbokki is famous there.
Tteokbokki is really famous there, yeah, and it's great. But I looked beyond that, and then I quickly learned that back in the days, Shindang-dong used to be a cemetery for both Koreans and for the Japanese during colonial times. So what I always do when I explore neighborhoods, I go to a very old-looking store, and I talk to the sajangnim, a store that's over 40, 50 years old, because the sajangnim has seen the neighborhood change. And then I ask questions like, hey, how was it back in the days? So there was this halmoni in a kwail kage, like a fruit store. And she said, yeah, okay, this used to be a cemetery. And she lived right next to one of the smaller, older city gates. One of the few gates where only corpses were allowed to be carried through, because they had to go to the cemetery. And then because of the cemetery, she told me, many shamans moved in to deal with the grief of family members. And Shindang means shamanic altar, Shindang, so that's where the name comes from. So we had a good conversation, and I wanted to say bye, and it was really cold in winter. So I said, chupchi maseo. But she understood chukchi maseo, so, which means don't die. And I was so stupid, and she hit me really hard, like harmony style pats on the back in a funny way. And that's a moment I will never forget, because we had this really meaningful conversation about the history, her store, my bad Korean. and then I realized it's often the people that make the neighborhood. The history is important, the history can be fascinating, but when you really remember a neighborhood, it's because of the people you met inside the neighborhood.
Right.
That is so fascinating. And I guess that you probably know maybe even more than just the regular Korean residents about these neighborhoods, because you learn about the history and also the facts about how the city has become the city, or the Dong has become the neighborhood that it is today.
Yeah.
Now, Bart, are there also maybe some neighborhoods that you feel are a little underrated, or just you would like more people to know about those Dongs?
Yes, I'd say Sungin-dong. And inside Sungin-dong you have the Dongmyo flea market. Of course, many people have heard about this place, but it's still underrated. I can say Suyodong or Dongjeondong in the south or north, but people will never go there, it's too far away. And Dongmyo is a place, you have to go on the weekend, where many merchants sell secondhand stuff. It's all vintage. It's like seeing Korea in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. It didn't change at all. The food, the restaurants, the drinks are much more affordable than other places in the city. I feel like inflation, economic crisis, that doesn't hit that place. They just keep the prices the same way. And it has a lot of history. So yeah, the Dongmyo flea market in the weekend is a must.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep mind of that.
Dongmyo, yes, flea market. And I know there's many reasons for people to visit Seoul or to have this Seoul as a fascinating city. But for people who may not know, why is Seoul such a fascinating place to visit?
I always compare it with Amsterdam, capital city of the Netherlands, where I'm from. If you look at Amsterdam, you can see the development took almost 400 or 500 years to make it the city it is today. Korea has done the same in maybe less than 100 years. So in such a short time, the city has changed so fast and is still changing fast that you have hundreds of layers on top of each other. And they're all, here and there still a little bit visible, but the back layers are fading slowly, and there are new layers forming on top. And to me, it's really fun to explore a city with so many layers, because it's like peeling an onion and you try to get to the center of it in order to understand it. So Seoul, you can visit a few days and you go back home, and yeah, K-food amazing, K-films, K-drama, K-pop and all of that. But then there are those 60 layers underneath that you can still explore. So many reasons to come back or stay longer.
And speaking of exploring, Bart, you're probably going to still explore the more than 300 Dongs that you still have to...
When I'm 80 years old, I will be like, finally I'm done.
I think you'll be able to manage in the next decade or so, maybe?
Decade sounds good.
But, well, once you introduced all the 467 neighborhoods, what would be your next plan, maybe?
A long vacation.
Oh, okay.
No, I want to write a book about it.
Oh,
yeah, I want to write a
it.
detailed book about every single neighborhood in the city, both in English and in Korean.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
We'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, you gotta wait a little longer.
Okay, we'll be patient.
Yes, and once that book comes out, make sure to visit us again, right?
Of course.
Oh yes, please invite me again.
All right, Bart, thank you very much for sharing your story with us
Thank you.
today, and we look forward to your upcoming videos.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And thank you, Bella. As always, we're going to see you back here tomorrow.
Yes, I'll see you back tomorrow.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave for your daily dose of K-culture issues. Please join us again tomorrow, Friday, 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day here in Korea.